Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Bogey King. We're glad you're here today. Today I've got a special video for you. It is the recap and the closeout of our League Journal series. I started this series back earlier this summer when I started playing in the 9-hole men's league here at my local course. And I'll be honest, I didn't keep up with it every week. Summer got really busy between family and travel and work. I didn't have as much time as I had hoped to complete the series, weekly, but I thought I would take the time today to share with you my experience of playing in the men's league, talk to you about some lessons that I learned, some things that I experienced, and really share that experience with you in hopes to encourage you that if you're out there and you're thinking about doing something new, thinking about challenging yourself in a different way, that hopefully you'll take that step and do so. So, before we get into it, if you're new here, hit subscribe, hit that like button, hit that bell. It goes a long way to help the channel. We're trying to grow our subscribership. Our next goal is 1,000 subscribers, and we're moving closer every day, but it doesn't happen without your help. So please hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell. We have new videos every week at 11 a.m. On Saturdays. And so our goals here at Bogey King Golf are to inspire, to educate, to do product reviews and have fun. And so this summer I got to experience all of that during League. So without further ado, why don't we get into my experiences and the things that I observed, the things that I learned throughout League this year. So League was around 20 weeks. There was a playoff week and there was the championship week. So for me, the first thing that I experienced was that this was a new experience. I have played golf on and off for about 20 years. Started off when I was older teenager, early young adult, and played into my adult years. Most of the time I played was pretty casual, a couple times a year, played in work events and charity events. But really during COVID, one of the safe things you could still do was golf. And I could walk the course and I could be outside. And so I really, jumped back into the sport during COVID in the past, I'd say almost 2 years now at this point. And so for me, I'm somebody who, I know I'm not going to be a PGA pro, and that's okay. But what I do want to do is I want to improve and I want to get better. And, we talk about, I'm a mid to high handicapper. One day we'll have a video where I talk about my handicap. We'll go in depth into it. But really the focus is the fact that no matter what your handicap is, you can always find ways to improve. You can always find ways to get better. So for me, the thing is being in a space that I was uncomfortable and pushing myself a little bit further. So for me, it was a new experience. There was around 35 guys that signed up and participated in the league. And so for me to put myself in a position where I was new, I was definitely uncomfortable, was something that I took as a challenge, and I wanted to push myself a little bit further. And I can say that I was definitely, worth it, and I definitely enjoyed figuring some of these things out as we go along. Part of that experience was meeting new people. So as you can imagine, in this league, there were golfers of all handicaps. We had, scratch and +1 golfers all the way up to 20 and 30 handicappers. A lot of the people that were there to have fun, were there to play golf and meet new people and just enjoy the game with everybody else. And that's something that I can say I really enjoyed, was that regardless of whether I was paired with somebody who was an insane golfer or somebody who, might not be as good as I am at golf, I had fun and I felt like the camaraderie and the support and the encouragement was there. And, it was just a good experience to meet these people that were also passionate about golf, that also enjoyed the game and really had fun. And honestly, the weeks I played with the low handicaps, it was awesome to observe and see how they approach the game, and then, took those into my own learnings. Now, I know from experience I did not want to be a pain in the butt. I also know that it's illegal to ask somebody certain questions that you'll get penalized for. And so for me, it was a matter of learning, of observation, and just making new connections. And so being, in that space, that was awesome. And, as I observed and as I watched and as I played, there were things that became evident to me about my game. And so one of those things that I took away from the season was me having to slow down. So I'm by nature I think a quick person and patient person. I like to speed through certain things, and golf was something that I really took that approach with. I wasn't always rushed, but I always rushed my shots. I didn't take the time to think through the approach and to think through the strategy around how I was going to play it. And that was evident the first couple of weeks. And I played really rough the first week. I was nervous. I didn't know anybody that I was playing with, and I just didn't play that great. And every shot, I was so nervous that I just wanted to get up there, make contact, and then move on. And that did not bode well. So throughout the season, the behaviors that I observed in the better golfers were, one, the pace of play, two, the planning and the strategic, aspect of what they were doing, and then course management. And so for me, a lesson learned, and where I definitely saw improvement, was slowing down my game, keeping a solid pace, and putting myself in a position to play the shots that I know I can play, and hopefully minimize the shots that I'm not comfortable with. And so, there were examples such as if I'm close, in a league round, if I'm, let's say, on the fringe, close to the green, and maybe, I'm not the best at chipping, I might want to use my putter and just putt it onto the green from there, because that's a safer shot. It's the smarter shot, frankly, and then I can work on that chip shot when I'm not playing in competitive golf. And so that was some of the things early on. I was taking some shots that I probably shouldn't have been taking because I wasn't 100% comfortable with those shots, or there were shots I wasn't, confident in. And so that definitely led to some higher scores. But the one thing that I definitely noticed as I slowed down and as I prepared and as I practiced, even when I went and played rounds with friends that were fun, I worked on certain aspects of my game that I started to identify through league. And so that led to better scores. And as I played, throughout the weeks, my scores got better. And, by the time you look at it from beginning to end, I'm excited to really share that I probably took on average between rounds, between 5 to 10 strokes off. I started off, obviously higher, and then I worked my way down. And then I set goals at every interval of, okay, well, now that I've broke this threshold, I do not want to go above that threshold. And so that became the new goal. And then I set another goal, and so on and so forth. And so, throughout the season, I worked towards each of those things. And then I really spent time working on the aspects of the game that I knew would help shave off strokes. So a big focus of mine throughout the season was chipping and putting, because I noticed that, when maybe you can get to the green in 2, or you can get to the green in 3, but then you 2 and 3 or 4 putt, that's a ton of strokes that you're adding to your score. And so for me, those were things that, again, taking away and being a little bit introspective and retrospective helped me be able to improve my overall golf game. The biggest thing, or the next thing that I learned, was have fun. One of the things that impressed me the most about this league was it didn't matter whether I was playing with, again, a scratch or a +1 handicapper or a higher handicapper. They were supportive, they were encouraging, and they wanted to have fun. And I know that, we might run into people throughout our travels that might not be that way, but I felt very fortunate that during this league experience that people I played with were supportive, were helpful. We had fun together, and it was just a good time of, enjoying being out on the course. And I think that was a takeaway of, if you have a bad hole or you have a bad shot, do your best to clear your head, take a moment to breathe and to think, positive thoughts, envision yourself making that next shot, and really clear your mind to play your best golf. And so for me, that comes back to remember to have fun. Remember that, a bad day on the golf course is better than a good day off the course, because you're doing something you love and you're doing something that you enjoy. And then I think the last thing that really, for me, hit home was working to achieve your goals. So as I mentioned a little bit ago, I set goals at different intervals to achieve lower scores. And for me, my main goal throughout the whole season was I wanted to reach the championship. It was my first year in the league playing competitive, and I think that was a pretty lofty goal. There was a lot of steep competition, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to say I made that goal. I made the championship. So out of the 35 places, I finished 10th, and I'm very proud of that. I would have liked to have went even lower, but at the end of the day, my goal was to meet the championship, and I made that, and so I'm very happy. So, my goal for next year is to be in a money spot. And it's going to take some work to get there, but I'm confident that with, the things I've learned from this season, that I can be in that position next season. Now, when I look at the season at, kind of at the bigger picture, I started off towards the back, and I worked my way up, week by week. By mid-July, I was in 13th place out of the 35. And I was feeling really good, but I had a 2-week vacation. So I missed 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks of being gone, I dropped back to 24th place. And so I had to fight my way back, And I really had to play some good golf to get myself back up to the point that by the end of the season, I was in a place to play in the playoffs. And then I maintained my position to stay, in the top 10 to play for the championship. And so for me, it wouldn't have been possible without everything I mentioned prior to this, but it also, to me, wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't set that goal for myself to begin with, to put that out there in front of me to, achieve that. And some of the things that happened because of that were my handicap went lower. So when I look at my numbers prior to the season starting to where they are now, I'm down 3 strokes in my handicap. And so to me, that's a huge improvement just over a few months. But I think some of the things that contributed to that were, one, consistent play. I practiced a lot, the most I could. And then I learned from others around me. I consulted with the pros at the course. I spent a lot of time working on certain aspects, researching and watching videos to just try to improve the aspects of my game that I knew I needed to improve on. And so, for me, being able to play in the championship, play against some very, very good golfers, enjoy that golf, but then also at the end of the day, lower my handicap and improve my golf overall was a win. And I was very excited about that. And so the reason I'm sharing this with you and the reason that I actually started the League Journal series was because it was new to me. And there was a lot that was unknown. And honestly, whether it's silly or not, it was me putting myself out there, much like this channel is. I'm not the best golfer in the world, and that's okay. But I want you to know that it's okay if you're not the best golfer in the world. If you love the sport, if you love anything, it's worth trying, it's worth doing, right? And so I want to be that voice for you, that you can get out there, try something new, see if you like it. If you're new to golf, keep working, keep trying, and just remember to have fun. If you've been in golf for a while, then you know that it is something that continues to, pull you in, and you may have a bad shot, and you have that great shot, and it just, yes, this is the game that I want to play. And so, I hope that you found encouragement through this series. I know that your words of, encouragement were just super appreciated. Several of you commented on my series throughout, and I appreciate that. It went a long way. To know that there are people watching this from other parts of the world encouraging me meant so much. And so for you all out there watching, go out there, try something new, put yourself out there, be uncomfortable, because I can guarantee that if you do and you're open to those experiences, you're going to improve, you're going to get better, and I think you're going to just be a more well-rounded golfer because of that. And so, again, if you're new here, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell. It goes a long way to help the channel. We're really trying to grow our subscribership. Our next goal is 1,000 subscribers, so we'd love for you to help with that. As we get closer to that goal, we're going to have some giveaways, and you want to be plugged in to have a chance to get those. And really, at the end of the day, our goals, like we said before at Bogey King Golf, are to inspire, to educate, to do product reviews, and have some fun. So I feel like I got to do a lot of that this season. I hope that you were able to enjoy that with me. Drop a comment below. Let me know if you've played in a league before, what your experience was like. Would love to hear from all of you. And as we say every week here at Bogey King Golf, you can still have fun even when you're playing +1. So until next week, I hope you get out, I hope you play some golf, and we will talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Have a great week. Later.